I'm Elizabeth, a literary princess. If you are new here, welcome. I have a PhD in English literature with a focus on Victorian women novelists, and as you might expect, I love to read. Today I have my May wrap-up for you. First, I wanted just to say a few things. The first being that I am sorry that the focus on the last several videos has been going in and out. I think I have fixed the problem. I let other people touch my camera, and I shouldn't have done that. But I think the problem's fixed, so we'll see how this looks, and if not, I will continue to fiddle with this. The second thing is I wanted to thank you all for the support that you have shown regarding my dog, Willow. It means so much to me, it really does. She is still holding on. She gets a bit weaker every day, but she's not ready to go yet. She still enjoys going on a nice walk down the street, even though her breathing is kind of labored. And my parents are finding various interesting things to get her to eat. So, I don't know how long this is gonna go on, but she's doing the best that she can be right now, as are me and my parents. So yeah, just thank you everybody for your support. It really means a lot. It really does. So May, this has been a weird month. I read 6 books. Yes, like I said, it's been a weird month with Willow, and then I was away at a conference at the beginning of the month, so this has just been strange. I did not finish my Elizabeth Gaskell book for the month. I didn't even start it until 2 days before the end of the month, so, you know. Yeah, so 6 books. Let's jump in. So the first one is an arc that I got through NetGalley, and it actually has not been released yet. It is coming out on June 9th. This is The Way It Haunted Him by Laura R. Samotin. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. So this was marketed as queer, dark academia, fantasy horror. We are following a boy whose name I don't remember. Michael. So Michael's boyfriend has died, and he blames himself for it. We don't know what has happened at the beginning of this, but he blames himself very much. And as this kind of penance, he has decided he is going to finish his boyfriend's dissertation on Jewish folklore by going to the Schechter Institute for Judaic Studies, which is an archive that has been closed to the public for a really long time and is now reopened by the archivist's grandson, Jacob. Jacob and Michael meet and some sparks fly, but there's some weird stuff going on in the place, and also Michael is dealing with this overwhelming guilt about his boyfriend. But maybe he shouldn't be. So I really wanted to like this. And I really did like aspects of it. Like, I loved the archive aspect. I wanted more of that, honestly. I came in here, like, really hoping for toxic relationships. That sounds terrible. But, yeah. And the relationship between Michael and his boyfriend is toxic. But we only see so much of that because the boyfriend is dead. I was really hoping for some kind of toxicity between him and Jacob as well, and there really wasn't. And it wasn't really very horror-ish. Like, I don't know. I just came out feeling like that could have been scarier. It could have been, like, more psychologically intense. It could have been more toxic. Is that a terrible thing to want? I don't know. It's fiction. Yeah, I don't know. I just left it feeling kind of meh. So I gave this 3 stars. There is, however, a cat that I love. The cat was great. The cat was the best part. But yeah, I don't know. Everything felt very obvious. Like, I never had any doubt about what was going on, even when Michael was doubting his own sanity. Like, I never actually felt like I was wondering too whether was he seeing these things happen, or is he going crazy, or any of that. Like, the reveals, they weren't reveals because I like knew them within the first few chapters. So I don't know. I gave it 3 stars. There were things that I liked, but I wanted more from it. The next book was also an arc. This is How the Story Goes by Andrew Forrester. This came out at the beginning of May, so you can now purchase it. And it is a romance following Whit Longacre, who is a widower. His wife, Helen, recently died of cancer, and she is a famous children's author who wrote a very popular series that has been left unfinished. And in her will, she stipulates that Whit should finish the series and write the final novel. But he is struggling because he cannot find any notes on it. And also, he's a mystery writer, so this is not his thing. He meets in town Merritt Pryor. She has recently come to stay with her mother after dropping out of her MFA in creative writing, and due to a relationship with a professor that went wrong. And she is like one of the biggest fans of Helen's book series, and she knows all about it. So Whit and Merritt team up to complete this final book and try to figure out, okay, how are we gonna do it? Whit is on a deadline, or else the publishing company is going to ask someone else to finish it. And so they are working together, and naturally they start falling in love. I really liked this. I thought it was really sweet, but also like it felt real. Like, it wasn't overly sweet. They felt like real characters with real problems. Whit has a daughter whose name I'm not remembering right now, and it's not in the summary. And his concerns about her and how she is coping with losing her mother were very real. Merritt's concerns about getting involved with Whit, Whit's concerns about getting involved with Merritt. And of course, I really enjoyed the writing aspect of it. Seeing these two co-writing was really fun, and how they bond over that. So yeah, I gave this 4.5 stars, and I would highly recommend it if you are interested in like a really nice romance about people who are involved with books. Next up, I finally finished the People April group read. This is The Blue Stockings, A History of the First Women's Movement by Susanna Gibson. As I said, this was the group read for People April. I did not finish it in April and continued it into May. This is a history of the 18th century kind of group of people known as the Blue Stockings, who were mostly these very educated women who were writing and holding salons and just engaging intellectually at a time when it was not expected for women to do this and where it was kind of frowned upon. We are learning about women such as Elizabeth Montagu, Hester Thrale Piozzi, Hannah More. Can I remember anyone else? Is there just anybody else right here in the... Yes. Frances Burney, Catherine Macaulay, Sarah Scott, all these really fascinating women. And this was so good. I loved this so much. It's like kind of a group biography, but I really liked that it's kind of done thematically. Like, we aren't necessarily going in chronological order all the time, but we're looking at themes like motherhood, love, independence, women not marrying and kind of forming these independent women-only households. This was so interesting, and it has given me so much to start reading. This built a lot for me on some stuff that I already knew from the book Jane Austen's Bookshelf by Rebecca Romney. They talk about several of the same authors. And so it was really nice to just kind of build more on that knowledge. And I thought Gibson's writing was great. She really makes you invested in these women and the things going on around them. I mean, the stuff on motherhood was kind of harrowing. Hester Thrale Piazzi's first marriage, she had an insane number of children, and so many of them died, and it was just heartbreaking. So heartbreaking. Oh my God. I felt so bad for her. So I gave this 5 stars. I would highly recommend it if this is a time period you're interested in, or if you've kind of heard of some of these women before, or maybe read a book by Frances Burney and you want to know more. Super great. Next up is one that I actually kind of went into expecting to be disappointed. So I guess I can't be too disappointed. This is All That Consumes Us by Erica Waters. This is a young adult, dark academia fantasy following a girl whose name I don't remember. Tara. There is this academic society on her campus that she has really wants to get into, but they only accept, I think, 5 students per year. But when one of the current cohort dies, Tara is invited to come in. And the students who are in this society go on to become great people, brilliant artists or writers or scientists. It happens to all of them. But Tara starts to feel like she's kind of losing her mind. She is writing in the middle of the night, but she can't remember doing the writing itself. And while the thing she's writing is great, it's kind of freaky that she doesn't remember doing it. And there's a lot of secrets that everybody seems to be keeping from her. And that's all I'll say. I thought this was a really good concept. And I was engaged. I wanted to keep reading because I was I want to know what happens at the very least. So that's good. I really didn't like any of the characters very much, and which is fine. I don't need likable characters, but I need interesting characters, and I didn't find them interesting. I found Tara very whiny. I felt like the relationships that she had with people weren't realistically built. I'm with the other cohort of the society members, she's just suddenly friends with them and in love with one of them, and it just comes out of nowhere, and it's you've known each other 2 days. There's also this a janitor who works at the school. He's the head janitor. She was working for him before she becomes part of the society, and they have she goes to him in her times of trouble, and it really just felt odd that A, she would go to him, and B, that he would be willing to take this 18-year-old into his house to help her, because we didn't see enough buildup of a relationship between them. So it was just, I didn't think it was very good. I gave this 2.5 stars because, again, it did keep me engaged, but I will be unhauling it. Next up was my favorite of the month, and this is A Life for a Life by Dinah Mullet-Craig. This is a Victorian novel following Dora Johnston and Dr. Max Urquhart, and the romance that they have together. I'm not going to say a whole lot about this because I'm actually going to film a review for it right after this. It will be a spoiler-free review, so if you want to learn more about A Life for a Life, you should definitely be on the lookout for that one. I adored this. I heard about this from Katie at Books and Things. It is a Victoria's Archives book, and I am a huge fan of them. These books are great. And I've become a huge fan of Dinah Mullet-Craig. I think she's quickly becoming a favorite Victorian author, even though Bread Upon the Waters was terrible. We'll call that a fluke, because everything else by her has been fantastic. So yeah, I loved this. I thought this was a great love story. I thought the character studies were just so good and real, and yeah, really, really fantastic. Highly recommend you read this if you're interested in Victorian literature, and do be on the lookout for the review that will be coming out later this week. And then the final book that I read was nonfiction. This is The Silent Women, Sylvia Plath and Ted Hughes by Janet Malcolm. So this is kind of Malcolm's look at the afterlife of Sylvia Plath and all the different biographies of her, the way that these biographies have affected Ted Hughes, Plath's husband, and also his sister Olwen Hughes, who became the executor of Plath's estate. This is a complicated one. So Malcolm really seems to hate biographers. Like, she's really down on biography as a genre. But then it's like, but you're also engaging in biography here. So that was interesting. She has a definite bias toward Ted Hughes. And like, part of what she's saying is we shouldn't be building up this, you're either on Plath's side or Hughes's side. Like, that's a toxic thing that caused Hughes a lot of problems for the rest of his life. But the fact of the matter is, the guy cheated on her, brought his mistress into their house occasionally, and made her so miserable that she had a mental breakdown. So I found it really odd that Malcolm is trying to portray Hughes as like the better person almost than Plath. Like, she's criticizing people for taking Plath's side, but then she is taking Hughes's side. So, and look, I think Ted Hughes was a fantastic poet, as is Sylvia Plath. I think they were both very complicated people. And I think there is no way for us to truly know everything that went on in their marriage because, you know, he burnt her final diary. But, so given all that, like, yes, it's complicated. It's way more complicated than Plath's side, Hughes' side. But like I said, if we're looking at who really did the wrong here, it's Hughes. And there were times when Malcolm almost was trying to make it seem like Plath overreacted to Hughes's affair with Assia Weevil. And like that her bad-mouthing Ted to their mutual acquaintances was like this terrible thing for her to do. I'm like, no, he cheated on her. Screw that guy. Like, she's like, she shouldn't have been doing that. But then she goes and also criticizes one of the biographers for doing something very similar. So I'm like, okay, well, but you're doing the same thing, ma'am. You're doing the same thing. So, yeah, it was a complicated one. I did like that she actually went and spoke with a lot of the different people involved. She spoke with Olwen Hughes. She spoke with Plath's downstairs neighbor at the flat where she ultimately took her life. She spoke with a bunch of different people that knew Plath and Hughes, some of the biographers. So that was super interesting. And I think this is an important book in Plath studies, and I'm glad that I read it, but I cannot say that I liked it. And especially having read Emily Van Duyn's Loving Sylvia Plath, A Reclamation, which came out recently, which I read last year, and knowing that evidence has come to light that Ted Hughes did physically abuse Sylvia Plath, I think Malcolm's portrayal of the situation, like, looks even worse. You know, like, almost propaganda-y, or at the very least incredibly biased towards somebody that she shouldn't be. I don't know. Like I said, it's a super complicated situation. Nobody really knows everything. But it did put a bad taste in my mouth how much she seemed to be blaming Plath for overreacting to the affair. She also at one point implies that Plath would not be considered a great poet if she had not killed herself. Like, if Plath's suicide was not hanging over the Ariel poems, she implied that they would not be considered as great as they are. And I think that that is A, false, and B, like, almost misogynistic in a lot of ways, and just kind of toxic and gross mentality to have. Especially because then we have Hughes, who's this great poet, but his life has been ruined by these horrible Sylvia Plath fans who won't leave him alone. And then Assia Weevil goes on and kills herself, so it's like 2 of your wives took their own lives. So maybe you're the problem? Just saying. Again, very complicated situation. And I like Hughes as a poet. I want to read more from him, actually, and I want to read a biography of him. I'm very interested. But yeah, I don't know. Malcolm's bias left a kind of bad taste in my mouth, but I feel that this was important and I learned some interesting stuff, so I gave it 3 stars. And I'm going to be keeping it on my shelf for a while. So that is my May wrap up. And we are like officially at the halfway point, like through the year, because June is 6 months in and I don't know how we got here. May felt like it went by very quickly and very slowly at the same time. So I don't know. Let me know down in the comments, have you read any of these books? What did you think of them? What did you read in the month of May? If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to see more of my bookish content. It has been great chatting with you. I will see you soon. Bye.